So recently I did a big overhaul on how I plan my business, the systems I use and everything, and it has been working for me for the past few weeks. So if you're anything like me as a creative person, my brain is just very cluttered, and especially running a business with multiple aspects of the business, like a YouTube channel, email list, a course, all of that stuff, it can really get overwhelming, and I was starting to feel that overwhelmed. There was a few months of time where I just really wasn't getting anything done, and I had so many tasks that I needed to do where I was literally overwhelmed to the point where I was getting nothing done. I was late on deadlines. I wasn't following through with projects that I wanted to do, and it just really started to affect my business because everything was disorganized. So I want to show you how I kind of reeled that back in and my current planning system. So that's when I came back to the system called Skedpal. This is not sponsored. I completely pay for this program, and I have been paying for it on and off, but it has literally changed my life. So before we get into Skedpal, I'm just going to give you a quick review of what this actually is. There's not a lot of YouTube videos about this at all. There's a small team that runs Skedpal, and there's just not a bunch of marketing about this system at all, which I think is kind of mind-blowing because it's literally the best one I have come across. So Skedpal is just kind of like what it says here, intelligent time blocking. So there's some information pretty much on their page, and I will link all of this down below for you guys. It does cost money, so it costs about $15 a month to keep Skedpal, and I will say when using the program, you may come across some bugs here and again because, like I said, this is a small team, but for me, the cost really is fine with me, even dealing with the bugs every once in a while. They do have a Slack channel where you can report things if you do see anything that needs to be fixed with a program. So this is kind of like the outline section of Skedpal. So it can be really overwhelming if you've never used it before. Like I said, I've used it on and off for a few years, but they've really done some great improvements. And especially the outline is one of their newer improvements. So what the outline is, it just really is kind of like whatever you want it to be. So if you run a business, it could be, I've separated it out into the different aspects of my business, and that's just kind of how I work. So if you want to create like a new section within your outline, you can just kind of click the plus button, and let's say you want to do like a wholesale database. I have no idea, just making things up. Wholesale database, and then you can make this into a section. So I just kind of click the three dots here, and you have a whole bunch of things you can choose from. So you can set this as a section, and you can do like subtasks underneath there. So you can just kind of click the plus, click shift, and it's now kind of a subtask. So you have to kind of understand the hierarchy, and that might take you some time to figure out that aspect for your business or for your whatever you're using this for. It could be for class, business. So for me, this took about a couple days to figure out how I wanted to organize everything. But once you do it once, you just set it and forget it, and it's set up. So it does take some time to set up. So you can do different areas through here. You can have a client section within there. So if you do like vendor events or trade shows, you can have that down there. So that's just kind of an example. I will show you how I set up winding with candles. So you can see here I have ideas. So for each section, I wanted to make sure I had an ideas section so that I could put any ideas that I had for that particular topic. I can put that right at the top so I can see and come back to those ideas if I need to. And then just different aspects of my business here. And underneath those sections, you can even, you can keep going and going with the hierarchy. So like for YouTube, if we're looking at my ideas, I do have some ideas here, and this is the current idea that I'm working on, tips on how to organize my business. And if you click that, this is all of the details of that particular topic. So you have a lot of ways that you can organize this, and like I said, it can get very in depth. I'm not going to go that in depth in this video because I'll be here forever, but that just gives you an idea on how these things work. So once you put everything into your outline, you're probably wondering, how does this correlate with scheduling or your calendar, which you can see here. So let's actually go back to my outline. So what you can do is whenever you're ready to start working on something, you can schedule it into your day. So there are a couple different ways you can do this within Skedpal. You can add it to a plan, and you can set a specific time. So if you need this to be done by Friday at noon, you can set that time. You can set a deadline. So if you say my deadline is Friday, then Skedpal knows, well, if the deadline's Friday, we can kind of schedule it, you know, Monday through Thursday, and by Friday it has to be done. So you can really be flexible with how you schedule your tasks. So for instance, let's say I want this video done by Monday. So Skedpal is going to say, okay, it needs to be done by Monday. And there are a few other options that you can do within this. So if you know for sure that filming a video takes you about 2 hours, you can tell Skedpal, hey, this is going to take me about 2 hours, and the minimum time block is going to be 2 hours. So what this means is I don't want it to be broken up within 1 hour increments. Like I don't want to do it 1 hour this day and 1 hour another day. I want to film a video all at once. So that means Skedpal is going to say this is going to take 2 hours, and we need a 2 hour time block to get this done. So if it's a bigger project that you estimate it's going to take like 6 hours and you want to do it over a certain amount of days, you can tell Skedpal, hey, this project is going to take me 6 hours and I want to allot 2 hour time blocks for this. So that's kind of what this section is here. So let's take a look at what we do next. So now that we've kind of given it a deadline and say, hey, this is going to take me 2 hours, now Skedpal is going to find the best place to put it in your calendar. So when I hit update schedule, so now you can see that it popped up here on my calendar. So Skedpal looked at what I had going on and it found that this was the best time to do this specific task. If you don't think that's the best time, you can always schedule it later or do whatever you want. So like for instance, I have this task here and this is a YouTube video I'm not quite ready to work on. So I'm gonna defer this task. So let's say I'm gonna defer it, and maybe in about 3 days or so, I'll work on it. That's all you have to do. And then Skedpal, you just hit update and it'll find the best place to put it for you. So now if we kind of go here, you can see it put it here for us. If you don't want to do a video at 9 a.m., you can always move it. You'll say, well, maybe, you know, that's a good day, but maybe I'll just do it at 2. So this really solves the problem for me, because when I have to manually do things, that's when things start to fall off and I start to get behind, because the calendar requires me to manually go in there and just kind of like input things and change things around. And then typically you have to have separate systems for this. So for instance, I was using programs like ClickUp to keep all of the organization, and then you would have to transfer that information into Google Calendars and kind of have 2 separate things going and had to keep up with all of those things. That's why I really like Skedpal, because everything is in here. And I feel like if you don't have a great schedule, it can really, really hurt your business. And I was feeling that personally, because I just wasn't getting projects done and I was barely getting deadlines done, and having people email me saying, hey, I wanted to check in with you on this certain thing, and it was really just getting overwhelming. So I love Skedpal for this. But now that we've talked about scheduling, I kind of wanted to shift this over to how I organize my emails, because those were getting out of control too, and how I kind of combined the email system with my Skedpal system. So let's move on to that. All right, so I wanted to take you into my Zoho Inbox so I can show you how I organize my inbox and schedule things into my calendar in Skedpal. So the first thing I did, my inbox at one point was up to like 5,000, and it was actually it was affecting my work. So you can see here, the first thing I did to get rid of the 5,000 emails is I went through the past 2 months. So I went through 2 months of emails and kind of looked at everything to see, you know, if I still needed to do anything. Anything past 2 months I felt like was old. And if someone contacted me like 3 months ago and they didn't contact me again, then we just, you know, I missed the conversation. So I just went ahead and archived everything past 2 months. And then in the 2 month time frame, I went and deleted stuff and saved things and moved it around. And so I do actually still have all of those 5,000 emails. They're just in the archive. So if I do need to look something up, I can look it up. So the reason I like using Zoho over Google Mail or anything is, the first reason is it's free. You can get a professional email. So Tiana at windingwithcandles.com for free. So they also have a lot of programs here that you can add on. So with that out of the way, you can make folders. To make a folder, you can go in, hit the plus plus icon here, and then make folders. You can see here I have a folder specifically for Candlebiz Academy questions. That's the only folder I have, but if I am working on a project that requires back and forth email, so for my book I do have another folder. I'm not going to click into it, but you know how things kind of just, you know, get a little mixed up all in here. So you can add things to the folder. So all of my manuscripts, everything, all the email exchanges I need to reference again and again were in this folder instead of having to go here. So you can easily move emails to a folder, which is really nice. The next thing I have, there's a newsletter one. We all kind of have this. You can go in, if you're subscribed to any newsletters that you actually read, you can go and look at your newsletters. And notifications, I think these are just kind of like when someone places an order, I have it set up to go to the notifications instead of clogging up my inbox. And that's something you can do in the filters section. You can filter out different emails so they can go different places and not clog up your inbox. The next thing I have is tags. So I can actually tag things if I want to save something, any bills or anything that's super important, I can add a tag. So let's look at this one here. I don't think there is any personal information. So the way I respond to emails, if it's going to take me longer than 5 minutes to complete the task in an email, because every email is a task, right? So in this instance, it is from my wholesale fair account, and it looks like someone is really interested in my candles and they are wanting a sample. So this task is probably going to take me a little longer than 5 minutes. So what I'm going to do in Skedpal is schedule out this email, and I might even add a tag to this email. So let's hit tag as, and we can hit this, you know, a take action. So this is going to have a little red tag that pops up, and then I can put this in Skedpal. So this is my inbox in Skedpal, and you can see this is all the things that I kind of need to do. So I'm just gonna put respond to wholesale inquiry. All right, so now I can move on. So now I can move on to the next email, and there's another wholesale inquiry, so I can just kind of do those at the same time. So this one is kind of a marketing email, so I can just delete it. I'm kind of not interested in the marketing right now. So this is a collaboration email for my blog. All right, so we have our little plans here. Now a lot of this stuff kind of has been planned out. So if I want to plan all of these things out, I can say, well, I can do that today. So let me go ahead and get all of these things done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put today, and I'm going to put each one takes me about 5 minutes. So now when we take a look at my calendar, all of these little tasks are scheduled out. And since they are individual tasks, for whatever reason, if I don't respond and thank Indie Business Network for the feature, it'll reschedule it for the next day. So let me show you. If I do these things and I don't do one of them, let's update our schedule. And we go to the calendar, you can see it marked out some of the things that we've already done. And it'll just keep kind of rescheduling things until I get it done. So the reason I really like this is because if I forget, like with Google Calendar, if I forget to do something, then the calendar just continues, right? It doesn't automatically reschedule things. You have to manually do that yourself. So that's one reason I really like the AI scheduling feature, and that's how I use it with my Zoho Inbox. So I hope this video was really useful for you all. I was struggling really bad with organization, getting tasks done, and it was really starting to affect my mental health. So something so simple as organizing can mean a world of difference. So hopefully this video helped anyone out who was in the same boat as me. And let me know if you have any questions about Skedpal organization. If you want to see more about organization, let me know down below, because I've gotten really good at it because I'm just so scatterbrained. So hopefully I can help you guys out if you do need it. But thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys on my next one. Bye.